Start.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. It's a very pleasure that we have been able to take out this webinar in this kind of a situation. I hope everyone is well out there. I know in this pandemic situation, it's very difficult to take out any webinar or any sessions like in this virtual mode. It's very difficult, but we are trying our best to carry out these kinds of webinars and all these kind of sessions in our full phase. So I hope that everyone is out there in a fit and fine situations. Well, thank you for everyone that in this kind of situation, in this busy schedule that you are present in our session is thank you so much. So I would start the webinar like introducing our Presidential Search, Chancellor of University of Engineering and Management, Kolkata, Chancellor of University of Engineering and Management, Jaipur, and founder and president of IEM Kolkata. 2 words from your side before starting the webinar, sir. President, sir. 2 words from your side, sir. President, sir.
I guess there is some network issues. Let me call him and just proceed.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We are holding for 10 seconds, sir.
ম্যাম স্যারের এটা কি আনমিউট হচ্ছে না, মানে স্যারকে কিছু বলতে বলছে কিন্তু স্যারের
সেট করে দিত
a bit network issues happen or just it is getting clear.
Okay, sir.
It's a very happy occasion.
Yes, sir.
Because the subject that will be discussed today, that is COVID-19 and the way forward, is a very, very relevant topic for all of us. All of us. We are all very scared for the future. We really do not know what is going to happen. We are all looking forward for a beacon which will guide us the way. Now, there Professor Rajat Gupta and Mr. Satyajit Acharya has agreed to speak on the subject. We are very happy to attend this, and I am here really to hear this lecture, not to give a lecture on this. So I only become thankful to the speakers and the participants, and I hope the participants will be immensely benefited. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. This wonderful words. Thank you, sir. So I would head on to the webinar. Sanjita Hajra, please take over the charge.
Thank you. A very good evening, everyone. Now I would like to say a few words about one of our chief guests, Mr. Satyajit Acharya. Mr. Acharya completed his engineering from Assam Engineering College and started his career as a junior engineer and in ECL, a subsidiary of Coal India Limited. And during his job, he completed his MBA in marketing from IGNI. He has served Coal India for more than 35 years. He retired from Coal India as a senior deputy general manager. Apart from his career, he also writes short stories, and a few of which were also published by a magazine. He has a beautiful collection of dramas and short stories written by him.
Okay. So
I would request you to say a few words.
Okay. Should I start?
Yes, sir. You can start.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Uh, Respected President Professor Dr. Satyajit Chakraborty, respected R&D Head Professor Kamakha Ghatak, Principal Dr. A.K. Nayak, HOD Prabir Kumar Das, senior faculties, professors, teachers, the students, and Professor Rajat Gupta, the main speaker of this event. Let me elaborate some few lines about Dr. Professor Gupta. Professor Gupta is a national scholar. He did his PhD from in mechanical engineering from IIT Delhi. He did his BTech degree from NIT Silchar, and after that he joined NIT Silchar as a at that time as a lecturer of this mechanical engineering. After doing his master degree and PhD, he became HOD of mechanical engineering and Dean RNC, Dean S&W, and ultimately he became professor of NIT of Silchar. In 2011, he was selected as director NIT Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir. He worked there for 5 years. After that, again in 2016, he returned back at Silchar as director NIT Silchar. Again, Ministry of HRD placed him in as a director of Mizoram NIT. This NIT was opened by government at 10 NIT was started all over India. He joined there, he worked there. Presently, he is working as a director of NIT. He published a lot of 165 research papers in various national, international journals and conferences. He also written 5 chapters in books, produced many MTechs and PhDs under him. His research areas include fluid mechanics, computational fluid mechanics, non-conventional energy, thermofluids, etc. He chaired various national, international conferences and delivered keynote address too. He is associated with various committees of Ministry of HRD, Government of India, National Board of Accreditation, and National Innovation Foundation of Ahmedabad, and All India Council of Technical Research. Now presently it has been abolished, and presently he is working as a chairman of Institute of Engineers of Mizoram. He is also a fellow of American Society of Mechanical Engineers. This American Society of they set various standards of mechanical engineering. Presently, he received various awards on education, leadership award, Rajiv Gandhi Education Excellence Awards, etc. And I feel very much honored and proudly declare that I shared same classroom with Professor Gupta in 11 and 12. We are classmates. So till now we have very cordial relationship. Excellent person he is. Very soft-spoken, very good. And today we are going to discuss the subject matter is COVID-19 and way forward. Friends, COVID-19, before COVID-19, our growth rate was, economic growth rate of India is around 7, 8, around that. And there was a lot of discussion that we are going to achieve double figure in recent future. But COVID-19 has put brake on our development wheel. And now we are going to the negative growth. Nearly 122 million people has lost job. Out of that, 91 million people are from small business, small traders, and unskilled laborer or skilled laborer, daily wage laborer. And rest of them are engineers, skilled laborers, like this. Private, the people who are working in private companies as an executive, as non-executive, like this. This rest of the people, that is 31 million people lost their job. Only salaried people in the present situation are a bit in a safer position because they are getting salaries. However, their salaries have been experienced a salary cut due to this present economic position. Government of India also suffered loss of revenue because of less GST, because of less income tax and other tax cut. People are really in distress because factories are not running, so electricity are producing very less. As electricity is producing less, so coal is also being produced less, and car is not coming out, vehicles are not coming out on the road, so petroleum consumption is also very less. However, in present situation, India's position is a bit better in comparison to other developing countries. The reason is that our export is less than import. Because of our export has been declined, because all world over economy has also been declined. So a decline of export, we did not suffer much. Again, our main foreign exchange is our foreign exchange is mainly consumed due to the petroleum products, crude oil purchase. As because very less vehicle running on the streets of India, so we are importing very less crude oil. So we also did not suffer much due to this government of India, I especially say government of people are really in distress. People are really in their distress, and your future, the students who are listening here, are most of them are engineers or MBA management students. They have a bit tough time because after let us hope that this COVID-19 situation will be one day, there will be everybody is expecting a magic wand will come and they will vanish the COVID-19 from this world. However, we are expecting a vaccine. Humankind has suffered this kind of problem in time to time. In this last century, we suffered, Europe suffered due to plague. Nearly 4 million people died at that time. But humankind has discovered has invented the medicine for plague. I hope also that in recent future the medicine vaccine of COVID-19 will also be available to us. So whenever everything will be okay, you will be also a graduate and you will be search of your job. Your fight is obviously a bit harder because the unemployed people who lost their job, you have to fight with them also. However, the basic necessity industry will absorb you immediately because the company who is manufacturing pump, suppose company who is manufacturing cars, vehicles, company who is manufacturing electrical items, company which is laying electrical lines, they require engineers. The IT industry, obviously the IT engineering people, students are highest, IT industry is the highest consumer of our engineering graduate. But I think after COVID-19 situation, there will be a bit for few 1 or 2 years, there will be a saturation point. After that, the demand will increase. But in basic engineering, you will be absorbed. Don't get demoralized, and I believe that you will get a job after this COVID-19 situation. And we have to maintain social distancing, and I will request Professor Gupta to start the main lecture. Professor Gupta, please.
Thank you, sir, for this brief introduction of Professor Rajat Gupta. And thank you, sir, also defining about the current situation of the whole world. It's a very devastating situation, I know. Good evening, Professor Rajat Gupta. Sir, you can carry on. The stage is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Satyajit Acharya, for a very nice presentation. Professor Dr. Satyajit Chakraborty, respected President of IEM and UEM Group, Professor Prabir Kumar Das, HOD, Department of Basic Sciences and Humanities, my dear friend, Engineer Satyajit Acharya, members of faculty and students of IEM, UEM Group, other participants, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Shubha Sandhya, Namaskar to all of you. This evening I am here mainly because of my friend Satyajit Acharya's son, Shaikh Acharya, who is a student of third year of IEM, and Professor Prabir Kumar Das. Today, I am extremely happy to be here for various reasons. The first one is that the university that IEM and UEM was established by none other than Dr. Satyajit Chakraborty, who is an alumnus of IIT Kharagpur. And I had the fortune to meet him at the Institute of IEM. Not only him, other members of faculty also at IEM. I was very much impressed. This IEM group, I'm happy to know that it was established in 1989, IEM at Calcutta. Then in 2011, UAM Jaipur was established. And in 2014, UEM Kolkata was established. And I'm so happy to learn that UEM Kolkata has stood one out of the top 10 institutes of India, including all IITs and NITs of the country in the NPTEL program, ranked by IIT Kharagpur and IIT Chennai. Kudos to all of UEM group. Another reason of my happiness today is that two of my nephews passed out from this institute. One is settled in USA and another is working in Kolkata. So naturally you understand that how happy I am today with sharing with my experiences with you. Initially I thought of making some slides. Later on I decided not to make any slides. Let me share my experiences. Now, so far the topic is concerned of this evening's topic is COVID-19 and the way forward. The topic was decided in consultation with Professor Praveer Kumar Das. We discussed at length what should be the topic, and finally we arrived at that COVID-19 and the way forward will be the most suitable topic of now. Now let me give us a small background that regarding the COVID, what happened to institute, for example, for my institute of NIT Mizoram. Lockdown suddenly declared in the month of March. Students vacated the hostels with a very short notice. Many faculty members also left. I was helpless, no idea what to do. Later on, we decided to go for online classes. Yes, we did. Whether we could do it successfully or not, that is another issue, but we did. Our mid-semester examination was also not conducted during that time. Mid-semester was for 30 marks, written examination. Senate is our highest academic body. In the Senate, we decided that out of 30 marks, we'll take examination for 15 marks, and 15 marks will be decided through assignments. Yes, we did. We conducted examinations for 15 marks of 1 hour duration, but experience was not that good. Some students wrote me back, sir, although we could write the exam, we could not upload the answers. Try to understand the psychology of the students. The students' exam itself is a big issue for the students. After writing the exam, Within 10 minutes, they have to upload, and some students could not do because of the network issue. So the frustration among the students, being the father, I can easily understand. So somehow we conducted the exams once again for those who could not upload their exams within the stipulated time. So I'm not very happy with the outcome. So we have the end semester examinations then. Online classes are going on. Now, again, we conducted the Senate meeting. We discussed the issues, and finally, we decided not to take any online examinations, mainly because of two reasons: that network connectivity and sanctity of the examination. We are not very sure about the proctoring time. We do not have any proctoring system as of now. So what we decided that 50 marks for the end semester examination, that will be evaluated through project-based questions. Questions were given, time slot was given, 7 days time was given, 10 days time was given, assignments were given, and they 30 marks for that. And of course, we conducted the Viva for 20 marks. And Viva, if it is not possible during a particular time, another time through WhatsApp also, we could conduct the Viva. And somehow we could finish our evaluation systems. We could declare our results, mainly for the final year students, because that is our top priority, and final year students passed out. But what about the lab? In any course, there is LTP, and separately also there is P. P is your petrichal. So we decided not to conduct any petrichal exams for the lower semester students. Final year, of course, they have already conducted the labs. So, excluding the lab parts, we declared the results. Another issue was that in our system, there's a change of branch. After first year results, students are given an opportunity to opt for a chosen branch. And that branch change is based on the merit list. So how to prepare the merit list? This is for the first semester and second semester results. First semester, they completed everything. In the second semester, they did not complete the petrichal classes. So what we decided and what we did is that we excluded the petrichal credits, and whatever the credits they have earned in the first semester and the second semester, excluding the petrichal credits, we made the merit list, and we successfully made the merit list, and change of branch also took place. Now, somehow we could declare our results, somehow we could conduct our exams. Now, in my heart of hearts, if you ask me a question, Professor Gupta, are you satisfied? My answer would be no. We did jugaad type of thing in order to save the career of the students. Jugaad type of thing we did. Now, why I am not satisfied? Let me explain a bit that in any education system, there are three types of learning verticals. There are three types of learning verticals. One is the fundamental, that means hardcore learning. Another is the skilling, there is vocational training, laboratory classes, etc. And another is reskilling, that is upgrade your things through NPT and other things. Now, issues with the online learning, there are many. I have just listed few. The number one is inhomogeneity in instructions. Inhomogeneity in imparting instructions. What I want to mean is that teachers are not trained to impart instructions online. And there is a lot of variations amongst the teachers. That is a big issue. Another issue is that poor network connectivity. India is a vast country, and still I believe there is a difference between India and Bharat. Another issue is that poor power condition across the country. And the fourth issue is the affordability. The students, many students, do not have the gadgets of that laptops and other things for this. So during this COVID period, what are the casualties or damages happened? Number one, that may not be that sequence. The research. No activity for the last 6 months. No research scholar in the institute. No project. Nothing. Research is a big casualty. Uncertainty in the minds of students and faculty. Uncertainty in the minds of students and faculty. Yes. Summer internship, placement, learning for campuses. Friends, health solves soft skill development. That is missing altogether. Peer networking building, hardly anything. The campus life itself, the students are missing. So these are among the various casualties. I have just listed some casualties in any education system. Now, we have to look forward. Way forward. The topic is that look forward. How to look forward now? This is a situation. Situation is like this. Then how to look forward? What we have to do? What we can do? Formation of various task forces is important for any university or education institution. Students' task force, as I said, that uncertainty is in the minds of the students. So there should be a constant interaction of the students to the students' task force. COVID-related task force, but COVID is to be there. COVID will be there. That will be the new normal system. Recently, not recently, yesterday only, some schools have opened. with the COVID situation. So there should be a task force for COVID also. Research-related task forces should be framed. And the most important part is that online teaching monitoring committee. Yes, there should be online teaching monitoring committee. A committee should monitor the teaching system and readjustment of curricula. Readjustment of curricula, what I want to mean is that lab classes which could not be conducted may be deferred to the next semester, and likewise. Helping the economically weaker sections by providing laptops, data card, broadband, etc. This is also important. To address the use of power card, we cannot do much. But only thing is that we can do something like that. We can record our things in the YouTube or WebEx or other things, and students can see at any time, anywhere mode. And of course, there is NPTEL and others mode is there. In order to address the issue of e-mobility instruction, it is extremely important training of teachers. This morning, I was attending another program where IAST president was also there. He was telling that they have designed a training program for 1,000 teachers. We have the Education Technology Cell. IIT Kharagpur is there, and many places there. And I think it is very important to train the teachers for online teaching. Another very important issue is that mental health of students. Extremely, extremely important. Yesterday, my daughter had an exam. She completed her exam with 50 minutes time duration given, and 10 minutes she was to upload that answers, which she could not. And because of the net failure, and she got so upset. So this happens to some of us, if not all. And during this COVID situation, that online teaching in silo, students are doing learning in silos, and there's a tremendous mental pressure on the students. And Government of India, there is a Manodarpan website is there. Our students can visit that site. Now, as you understand that there's a scarcity of jobs, then another opportunities come up. What is this? To increase the number of MTech and PhD students. That is an opportunity now for the universities, because many students may not get jobs and they may like to do higher studies. That too in India, there is a program of Stay India, program is the government of India. So we can increase the MTech and PhD students seats. The university will get benefits. In what way? I'll say that the MTech students or PhD students, they may be utilized to take tutorial classes and laboratory classes that will resolve the shortage of faculty. Now, regarding the affordability, everything cannot be provided by the university or the institute, not possible. So, in order to address this, we have to rope in alumni. Alumni should play a bigger role now. As the University of IEM, you have got your alumni settled across the globe, and I sincerely appeal to all students, and you must have alumni, strong alumni group. Please discuss this with your alumni and how alumni can help us in this situation. They should play a vital role for helping the students for their upliftment. The digital divide type, that is also they can help us. And of course, they can help in the placement. Now, these are the issues and some possible solutions I mentioned. This is a new normal situation, and there is no unique solution, no perfect solution. So these are the solutions what I thought of, and I'll be very happy if I get a better solution. I will also incorporate this. Now, the things are not that bad. I was just going through the India skill reports of 2019 of AICTE. This is mainly intended to the students. Employability percentage given. In 2014, it was 33.95%. And in 2019, it has increased to 47.38%. So my dear students, you see that things are not that bad. Which domain have more employable talent? I have the data. The BTech, it is in 2019, it is around 57%. MBA, 36%. BCom, 30%. BSc, 47%. MCA, your 43%. Now, we should see that if the top 10 IT companies take only 6% of the engineering graduates, that is the data I got. The top 10 IT companies only take 6% of the engineering graduates. What will happen the remaining 94%? What are the main traits that employees look for? Is a good educational pedigree enough to guarantee a good job? How can we raise the talent of engineering graduates and make them industry ready? So these are some of the queries came to my mind, that how can you raise the talent of engineering graduates and make them industry ready? Why students are not engineering industry ready? There are many surveys conducted, the Federation of India, Indian Chambers, LinkedIn's National Employability Report. So all the reports agree to a point, is that our students are not employable mainly because of the lacking in soft skills. There are other things also. For example, that lack of self-confidence, lack of problem-solving skills, communication skills, industry knowledge, English speaking and writing, and etc. Now, if a company comes to hire, say, 100 from the campus, and they may end up taking 30. 1,000 students, for example, a hypothetical case I'm giving, 1,000 students have appeared. Companies intended to take 100 from them and ended up with only 30. There is a pyramid. You see the steps of elimination. First is the aptitude test, then English common test, then group discussion, technical personal interview, HR round, and final selection. So the students are to be trained and they should be groomed there. The 360-degree skill assessment platform, there are many. The AI-based advanced proctoring and inbuilt evaluation system engine is there. So our students should be trained for this, that they should be groomed for this. And I'm sure that IEM is doing all these things and they can enhance this. Apart from this, I'd like to say one more point is that jobs versus gigs. One of the biggest changes that the work of future will see is democratization of work in the form of gigs. Gig work as well is a project-based setup where a person is hired to deliver certain outcomes and gets paid for it. There is no full-time employment contract, and the gig worker can work on multiple projects at one time. This flexible form of the job is gaining momentum in India and other parts of the globe, and it could revolutionize the future of the world. The Indian startups are the early adopters of the gig economy, but soon the other kinds of business could embrace this work concept. As per a recent report, one in every 4 gig workers globally are from India. So this is very, very positive news. Considering the current technology trends, some new engineering disciplines are imminent in near future. While most of the engineering growth will be seen in the domain of computer engineering, some sub-disciplines within computer engineering are likely to emerge in near future. For examples, artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, big data, augmented analytics, digital platforms, robotics, automation, drones, unmanned vehicles, cybersecurity, quantum computing, 3D printing, nanomaterials, and many more. These new technologies will further find applications in industries like automotive, agriculture, pharmaceutical, banking, retail, manufacturing, healthcare, etc. So you can see that doors are opening up for the right skilled students. It is becoming clear that just technical knowledge is not going to be enough for the future engineers. Future engineering will encompass sound domain knowledge, innovativeness, management skills, societal awareness, and knowledge of policy trends. The technical skill requirement may be some percentage. The remaining percentage will cover the soft skills that include leadership, effective communication, team spirit, digital literacy, critical thinking, etc. The main challenge will be to remain up to date with the rapidly changing technology, which will be unpredictable to some extent. The future world is going to be dominated by technology. The policies, therefore, should be defined that are compatible with the emerging technologies. Engineering education has to play an important role in creating the engineers that are ready for the future challenges. Unconventional and innovative thinking will have to be encouraged and nurtured at institutional level. Industries will have to actively mentor engineering institutions by sponsoring research, providing guidance in making future-ready engineering curricula, sharing industrial knowledge with students, etc. In the recently National Education Policy NEP 2020 has emphasized for multidisciplinary and holistic development, the critical thinking, and that we should focus more on job creator than job seekers for Atmanirbhar Bharat. New technologies, some on the horizon and some unknown, will emerge that will define the future of engineering. Whatever the technology trends, engineers will play a prominent role in creating a world that is sustainable, prosperous, and healthy. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for sharing this kind of vision with us. Thank you very much, sir. And yeah, it's very wonderful to hear you, because from your busy schedule, thank you for giving us so much of time to elaborate your vision in this topic. So I would request that any participants who has any question regarding this session, they can write down in the chat box. I'm giving you 2 minutes time. They can jot down their points in the chat box. If any question arises in your mind, you can ask sir just now.
And moreover, I can address the students questions later on also.
Okay.
In my mail also, you can send the questions and I can address this.
Okay, so it's a wonderful opportunity, sir, to view you at this moment. So I want to take 2 minutes time that so we are also a part of Wealthy West company. Means Wealthy West has become our second family, sir. So since we have been working so hard for this type of conference, so I would like to, if anyone wants to ask anything, they can jot down the points in the chat box. Within that time, I'm just sharing few achievements which Wealthy West has done. Wealthy West is just a small startup, which when in the year 2018, I didn't had any idea that yes, it was going to be a wonderful platform for everyone, for every startup companies. So yes, we started with single product, and then we came in the vision with other new products like paper pens, paper shelves, renewable. Every products are made from the renewable products also. So according to this, in this huge journey, we have been recognized by many scopes, and we have been also publicized over there also. So we actually some few achievements I would like to share that we have been given as the best international paper award to Mr. Shaik Acharji, who is the MD of Wealthy West, on waste management and waste is innovation on the paper topic, where 2,000 papers were submitted. So big appreciation and best wishes from our honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji to our Wealthy West team. We have been also given as the best entrepreneurship award in 2019 on waste management and sustainable development by IEM from the E-Cell department. Appreciation to the Wealthy West from HIDCO Sri Debashish Sen, who is an IAS officer, for our company's vision and motto and the way forward we are approaching towards a green society. He loves our project and he's always standing beside us. We have been also selected by the Wadhwani Foundation from the Pan India in the top 15 startup companies. We have been also highlighted by the Loknath Times newspaper, which is the biggest newspaper of Maharashtra. Best Entrepreneurship Appreciation Award from MKH Sancheti Public School and Junior College Nagpur of Oshwal Education and Sancha Nagpur to the Wealthy West family for our sustainable development and towards the green society of making it. Wealthy West has been also highlighted by the Art of Living organization, one of the biggest NGO in the world with having spread of more than 150 plus countries. And many more. It's many more. Like it's an endless list. I would, if I go, it would take a long hour. So
there is a question in the chat box.
Yes. I'm going through. Thank you for describing for all these type of achievements. Thank you. I am really pleased to share all this kind of news with all your participants. All came over here for to be a part of the session. Let's jump to the question if there is any. Yes, so we have a question, sir. Professor?
Yes, there is a question. I am reading it out. It is from Prabir Kumar Das, sir. How teachers should prepare themselves for online teaching effectively? What are the steps they should follow while teaching?
Professor, do you have any idea, any type of visions for this question?
This question is for me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you for the question. This is a big question to all of us. And you know that normal teaching and online teaching, there should not be much difference. Because fundamentally, what is the role of a teacher? The role of a teacher is to clear the fundamentals of the student. That is, I strongly believe that role of a teacher is to encourage the students to understand the basic concepts. Now, in any topic, students are intelligent enough to understand, say, 80% of the topic, and 20% maybe for the teachers to say what are the issues, what are the fundamental things. So whether it is online teaching or offline teaching, the method may be different, but the concept is the same, that you have to as a teacher, we have to clear the concept of the student for any topic. So for example, I am from mechanical engineering, say boundary layer theory. Now boundary layer theory, so many lectures are there in the NPTEL, MIT, so many lectures are there. All the materials are available to students and they will just go through. I don't think that the students will understand without a teacher. The teacher has to clear the concept of Navier-Stokes equation and how it is related to your boundary layer. That's what the necessity of the teacher. So whatever the courses, whatever the different softwares are there, they will act as the aid, but they cannot replace the teacher. So my answer to this is that there wouldn't be any change of online teaching or offline teaching. So far, the concept is understood. That is all.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this wonderful answer. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now I would like Principal Sir to say a few words about today's session, sir. Principal Sir.
Dr. A.K. Nayak, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is pretty good actually, and it is. I mean the different aspect he touched upon. It is really pretty good, and at the end, what he was telling to the answer to the question of Professor PKD. So that is also pretty nice and encouraging. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all the host.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Thank you, sir. So, thank you very much. And I would like to conclude by a very, very, very big vote of
Manish?
thanks to yes,
Manish,
yes,
there is a question again.
yes.
How could we spread greenery in spite of being in lockdown? And what are the future goals of our wealthy waste?
Okay. Actually, sir, in this lockdown, see, in this Corona situation, all these type of I would say that the nature is taking its place. All the global warming, all the greenhouse effects have been reduced. Means the pollution has been reduced, and this 5 months total lockdown, it's like it's very good for the nature, because yes, the oxygen level is increasing, yes, the air is getting purified a lot, and our goal is to provide those few materials so which the greenery would be able to increase. We have also introduced if you go to the Google, if you Google it, that wealthy waste, the first option is ours. Over there you will be able to find our products. We have made paper pens where the seed is attached at the end. So if anyone is using that pen, and if it is throwing out, it's totally made off of paper, it's not polluting. And above all, there is a seed at the behind of any plant. So if you throw that over there also, it is growing. And in this lockdown also, we have supplied those products to every consumers, whoever it is using out of free, means yes, we have given many pens out of free, so that they are able to walk and able to spread the greenery. So it's
And after all, we cannot jump into a big step. We have to go. We have to keep very baby steps. Okay, we should not think very big at the moment. We have to go step by step. There is another question.
Should online teaching replace the classroom in future? Professor, any answer for this? Should online teaching replace the classroom in future?
I think I'll take the last question. I have to go.
Okay.
What is the question?
Should online teaching replace the classroom in future?
It is very unlikely that online teaching will replace the classroom teaching for various reasons. Because classroom teaching, we have the eye-to-eye contact, and there is a feeling. Then is the body language. Why the students are understanding that, teachers himself can understand or herself can understand from the class. But on online, even if you are logged in and you are not sure whether you are there or not, you may do something else after logging in also. There is a possibility, but in the class that is not possible. So I don't think that online classes will replace the classroom teaching. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Last
very
of
much.
thank you. Last of all, big vote of thanks to IEM and PKD sir and everyone present over here, because without your help, this webinar wouldn't have been at this height. So I would request Professor Prabir Kumar Das to share his vision for the views for this webinar.
Thank you, Anish. Good evening, everyone, and especially a big thanks to our honorable delegates of today's program. There is Professor Rajat Gupta
Problem আছে, হ্যাঁ?
and Mr. Satyajit Acharji, who actually, it is very difficult to get their time. You can understand they are having a very busy schedule, and out of which they have given us the time for the benefit of the teacher as well as for the student, for the society at large. So my first vote of thanks goes to them. And then before going to the next phase, I just want to just apprise Professor Gupta that in IEM and UM, because of the teachers, our presidents, sir, directors, sir, our principals, sir, vice chancellors, and the big cooperation from the students, till the lockdown started from 23rd of March, there was not a single miss of any teaching learning process. What you have said is correctly that offline teaching cannot replace online teaching. Online teaching cannot replace offline teaching, but we had tried our best to provide the education to the students. All the teachers who are attending these sessions in this Zoom platform as well as in YouTube live platform, they have worked day and night for the benefit of the students. And not only that, we have conducted theoretical classes, we have conducted practical classes using the virtual platforms prescribed by the government. Then we have taken the examinations also. And you have rightly pointed out regarding the mental health and issues. So I just want to apprise that in IEM and UM group, we are having deputed counselors over there. Multiple counselors are there, and to keep all our faculty member and students mentally and physically healthy, we have also launched an app on yoga and meditation, where we, the teachers and students, are practicing each and every day and trying our best to make ourselves fit in this new normal. And we are also conducting different international conference, seminars, as per our best possible method and capabilities. We are trying our best, sir, and IEM and UM group like NIT Mizoram, we will try our best to make the education, as you are also trying your best at NIT Mizoram and other allied organizations. We are also trying our best to give the best thing to our students, and we are trying also hard to upgrade ourselves and make ourselves familiar with this new normal, new teaching learning process. So all those valuable suggestions will really help all of us. So thank you once again, sir. Thank you both of you for your enlightening suggestions and all. We will definitely follow it up, and further for any kind of help, we will take your help, and we can work together to give our best for the students who are the future of our country. And then I want to express my vote of thanks to our beloved President, sir. Without his visionary approach and guidance, nothing is possible for us. Then our principal, sir, and then our senior professor like Professor Arun Kumar Chatterjee, Professor KP Ghatak, sir, they are like our father figure, and all our faculty members of IEM and UM group, that is Institute of Engineering and Management, Kolkata, University of Engineering and Management, Kolkata, and University of Engineering and Management, Jaipur. So I thank to all of them, and I also thank all the participants, the students, my dear students, and the students of other institution or the participants from other institution, I express my sincere thanks to all of you. And last but not the least, without the help of, what you are talking about, the leadership, our students took lots of leadership in this connect, and without the support of Zainab Sultan, Pratik Mojumdar, Sanchita Hajra, Rohit Reddy, Swapnamoy Das, Harshit Anand, Madhurima Mukherjee, and definitely the CEO of this Wealthy West, whose brainchild is this Shayok Acharji. They are our students, and without their support, it would not have been possible for us to come. So I request all the participants to give them a big round of applause, because without their continuous support and technical support, it would not have been possible. So with this, I conclude here. This was really a learning experience. Thank you all for this session. You have joined and made the session a very successful one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. So by this, we end our today's
Thank you, sir.
session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.